So often we think that the only time that we can actually start getting into our gardens is once the weather has warmed up and it's late spring and the garden centers are bustling, they're overflowing with plants. And yes, you definitely can wait until then to grow your garden, but you can actually do a whole lot right now in winter. And even if it's technically spring on the calendar, it still feels like winter here. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about how I start seeds outside in the winter to get a kickstart on my vegetable garden. Hey, I'm Nadia at Embracing Harvest, where I talk all about local and seasonal eating. So if you want to learn more, hit that subscribe button below. Years ago, I never would have dreamed that I would be actually in my garden at this time of the year. I always used to think that I had to wait until spring, when the garden centers had all their plants out, to actually be able to start my own food in my own garden. I would think that if the garden centers have to wait until May or June to be able to grow food or flowers or whatever it is that they're selling, why would I be any different? But in fact, you can be growing your own food well before your garden centers are stocked. Many of the ones by me are just starting to bring in some of their first plants of the season, and I've actually already been working in my garden for the last couple of weeks. So you can't really necessarily grow any kind of food you want at this time of the year. Every type of food has its own particular preferences. Just like people, we all have our own likes and dislikes. So certain types of plants like to grow in cold weather, and other types of plants like to grow in hot weather. So you think about your corn and your tomatoes and stuff like that, those are all hot weather crops. So those aren't the kinds of things that I would be growing outside right now. Instead, I'm going to focus on things like lettuce and spinach and radishes and beets and all sorts of that kind of, all of that kind of food. So I'm going to show you actually what I do in my own garden to get these cold weather crops growing right now. And if you want some ideas on actually what types of plants like different climates, check out in the link down below. I have a free guide on sort of how to eat with the seasons. So it talks a lot about what kinds of plants that you want to eat in the spring, summer, fall, winter, but it's also would go hand in hand with this, because if you can eat something in the spring, it obviously would have to be able to grow well in the spring. So it's a really good starting gauge for you, or starting guide for you, to be able to sort of understand what kinds of foods like to grow in what climate. So check that out down below if you need a little help with that. But either way, I'm going to show you in this video what kinds of plants I like to grow at this time of year and exactly what I do. So today I'm going to plant 3 different kinds of vegetables. I'm going to plant carrots, spinach, and arugula. Those are all really good options for this time of the year. And I have probably about a dozen others that I'm growing, but I want to keep this video pretty simple, so I'm just going to focus on those 3 today. So the first thing I want to do to know if it's ready for me to plant, because you might not know, okay, can I go out and plant right now, or do I need to wait a little bit longer? So one of the common things that you're going to hear, whether it be in a gardening blog, a book, a magazine, wherever, is that the soil is workable. And what that means is that you can actually just like pick up the soil, take a handful of it, and kind of crumble it in your hands. If the soil is still rock solid, then it's too early. So it's a pretty good gauge to know if it's ready for some of these cold weather crops. And to get those seeds in the ground, I pretty much do the exact same thing I would do in any other time of the year. I typically like to grow in rows. Even though I'm growing in raised beds, I still like the row mentality for some reason. I don't really know why. I do it this way. You can obviously choose any way you want. Essentially what I do is I take my finger, I draw a line in the soil, and then I sprinkle in some seeds in that soil, pat it down on top. Whether you decide to do it in rows or whether you want to do sort of the square foot gardening method, whatever your style is totally up to you. In pots, you might want to arrange it a little bit differently just so that it kind of fills the pot. I probably wouldn't do rows in a pot. And then at this time of the year, you can just leave it. I typically like to cover all of my plants in the spring with like a fabric. This is totally optional. I do this for 2 reasons. One is I'm pushing the boundaries of the seasons a little bit by growing in the winter. Well, technically the spring. I keep saying winter because it's cold out, but winter weather, let's use that. So Because I'm pushing the boundaries a little bit, I do like to give that extra kind of layer of insurance, and that fabric just makes the soil a little bit warmer, and it improves the germination, or it speeds up the germination a little bit because the soil is warmer. So that's one reason. The other reason I like to do it is because I have a lot of birds and critters around here. And this is one of the most foolproof ways that I've been able to actually prevent the birds from eating my seeds at this time of the year, or having like squirrels or something like that start digging in my soil. So I pretty much have my whole bed under cover at this time of the year. So if it's something that you're struggling with, maybe consider trying that as well. But other than that, that is pretty much all I do to get started in the winter. So now you know how to start your own seeds outside in the winter and push those growing boundaries even more, so you can actually start eating your own food from your own garden even earlier than ever before. For more tips on growing your own food and recipes using the amazing ingredients that come from this earth, then hit that subscribe button below or head on over to my website. I share all sorts of additional stories and inspirational photos and stories from the community as well in my weekly newsletter. So I'd love for you to join that as well. And that's it for this video. I will see you in the next one.